My name is Chris Padgett. I'm the regional sales manager here. I'm sure you guys saw Zach and Guy on the way in. This is
Zach
my
again.
good friend Zach with Clark & Associates. He's going to explain some stuff to you today about first aid kits and AEDs. If you have any questions afterwards, feel free to ask me, him, the Columbia Safety Zach or Guy. Enjoy your food and enjoy the show.
Appreciate it, Chris. How's everyone doing today? Good? Good. Yeah, so like Chris said, we're going to cover first aid. There were some changes in 2015 from ANSI and OSHA on first aid kits. So we're going to take a deep dive into that and kind of go over some of the changes, help you guys better understand that. So that way you guys can equip your coworkers and so that way you guys are up to speed on those changes as well. If you guys have any questions at all during this, feel free to raise your hand. I'm easygoing. You can shout out, whatever is easiest for you guys. So with that, we're going to hop in here to who first aid only is and kind of go over the regulations and all the changes and all that good stuff. So this is today's agenda. Again, we're going to discuss first aid, who we are, what we do, review the OSHA regulations and changes to the ANSI 2015 requirements. And then also we're going to explore some of the different products for you guys as well. Kind of give you guys a little backdrop of who First Aid Only is. They've been in the market since 1988. They're based out of Fairfield, Connecticut. We have products that meet every business need for every customer size and every industry. All of our products are made in the USA. We try to use the freshest components whenever we kit stuff. So you're getting a fresh kit. It's not going to be old expired items. Sometimes back in the earlier days, companies would just kind of throw items in there and they would already be expired whenever you got them. So we do use the freshest ingredients whenever we build our kits. We are committed to innovation, which I'll show you a really cutting edge kit that we have out currently. And then also we are the fastest growing first aid company in the industry. So OSHA, I'm sure everyone's heard the OSHA name, who they are, what they do. So as you guys know, OSHA is a federal agency charged with the enforcement of safety and health legislation, right? OSHA, for first aid, what they recommend and require for first aid is OSHA regulations state that in the absence of a clinic or hospital in near proximity to the workplace, adequate first aid supplies shall be readily available. So it's kind of a wide open, I get this question a lot like, hey, what do we need? What does OSHA recommend that we have? And so that's where ANSI comes in. So who is ANSI? They are the American National Standards Institution that publishes the minimum requirements for workplace first aid kits. So most customers always follow what ANSI says. That way they're up to speed and they're covered both under the ANSI and OSHA regulations. So like I said, in 2015, ANSI published a revised minimum requirements for workplace first aid kits. So the changes in 2015 were 8 to 11 new components, 2 classes of first aid kits, which are going to be Class A and Class B, which we'll cover here in a little bit. And then also there's 4 types of first aid kits. If you guys want to open up your catalog to like your first aid only catalog to page 1, if you will. And we'll look at this here in a little bit, but this is the Class A, what's required, and then the Class B. And then also it covers the OSHA and the ANSI standard, which I just talked about. Some of the new components which are required for both A and B kits are going to be breathing barrier, a gel-soaked burn dressing, cold pack, eye covering with means of attachment, eye and skin wash, and hand sanitizer. Now for Class B kits only, it's those items, additionally a tourniquet, a roller bandage, 4-inch in addition to the 2-inch roll, and a larger Eyewash, 4-ounce, and then a splint. So like I previously mentioned, there's 2 types of first aid kits, Class A and Class B. Sometimes people get this mixed up and they have questions, what's the difference? So that's what I'm here to address today. So Class A kits are intended for a broad, provide a basic range of products to deal with most common types of injuries encountered in the workplace. Class B kits are intended to provide a broader range of supplies to deal with injuries encountered in a more highly populated, complex and high-risk workplace. So any kind of construction, large manufacturing, food processing, these are going to be the kits that you want. You'll notice as you kind of thumb through the catalogs, you'll see A+, A, B, B+, and I get a lot of questions on this as well because it's, you know, we just covered what is an A, what is a B kit, right? So the plus is the ANSI requirements in addition to more items. It's not necessary to be ANSI and OSHA compliant. An A or B kit will be sufficient. However, if you get the plus kit, there's more items in that kit. It could be more bandages, and then typically it's a lot more medication. Medication is not required. Advil, aspirin, that's not required in the ANSI and OSHA standards. The plus kits do have medication. So you'll see on a lot of our kits, especially if you look at just page 1 here, the Smart Compliance Kit, you'll see it with medication, without medication, and then this is the food service with medication, food service without. I don't think we have any food processors here, but what food processing is, it's a metal detectable bandage. So some of the kits that we have and what Columbia Safety GME Supply can help you guys with, and I have some examples here. The Smart Compliance, that's our cutting edge innovative one. The bolt kits, the Unitized kits, burn kits, and Eyewash stations. So the Smart Compliance cabinet, this simplifies OSHA and ANSI compliance. This is available in general business and food service options. A variety of containers meet ANSI class and type specifications, and this kit really makes reordering simple. This is the kit right here, and we have it in a little bit smaller, but I know the University of Missouri has one of these in one of the maintenance departments. So the benefit of this is it's very, and I'll kind of open it up to you guys here, it's very well organized, and whenever you use 60% of an item, it has a reorder part number. So typically first aid kits, whenever you see them in your facilities, they're a mess, they're just not organized, it could just be a complete nightmare. The benefit of this is 5S, very well organized, you know what goes where, and you guys can manage it, or the guys at GME or Columbia Safety, if they're helping you guys out, they can come by and look at it too. Moving forward, so unitized kits, so you'll see a couple different options. What a unitized kit is, and I could pass one of these around. This is what a lot of people use for you know, transit departments and everything of that nature for any kind of trucker's first aid kit, which I have one here as well. But it's individual packs. And the difference between a unitized and a bolt kit, which we have both, is the unitized kit is very well organized, and it's color coded, so you guys know what items are what. So everything, and I think GME has it right here in their catalog as well on page 89, 88, if you wanted to flip to that. So the yellow coded is like bandages, the red is going to be burn treatment, and the difference between that and the bolt kit is the bolt kit's a little bit more of an economy play for you guys, and it's just everything's kind of thrown in there. So a lot of customers typically go with the unitized kit because it's much more organized. Bloodborne pathogen kits. This is required to meet OSHA and ANSI standards. Emergency burn kits. This is ideal for industries where risk or a burn may occur. Available in a choice of containers. This is not ANSI or OSHA required that you guys have. Emergency eyewash stations. Everything with a Class A or Class B kit has some form of eyewash in there. So you are covered whenever you buy one of the regular kits. If you're working in a facility like City of Columbia, for instance, I'm sure you guys have emergency eyewash throughout the plant. This is required to meet OSHA and ANSI standards again. Sold individually as a kit as well. And then also any kind of custom kits. We can, if you guys have a a kit that you need put together, we can definitely help you with that as well. If you guys wanted a company logo, these guys here at GME, Columbia Safety, can help you with that as well. So anything we can help you with there. If you have a specific need for items that you guys wanted to require, if you want to go above and beyond and add, more items, we can do that as well. The refills and reordering, the other benefit of the Unitized Kit is at the back here, it has exactly what items are in the kit and what you need. Now, what a lot of customers do is once a year, they'll just do there's a one part number for everything in the box. So if you wanted to make sure none of your product was expired, sometimes it's more cost effective and just not a hassle for you guys just to order everything in the kit at once. Again, we kind of covered this before, but industry and specific needs. This kind of just goes over what, the Class A and Class B. Again, Class A is going to be more of a general business, administrative office. Class B kits are going to be more of the manufacturing and construction. Construction is definitely going to be a Class B. And then also you have the types 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see that note in here as well. And I have a different sheet that I'll go over with you guys here. Does anyone have any questions on first aid? I know we covered the OSHA, the ANSI standards, kind of gave you guys a little wide array of what we have to offer. Does anyone have any questions at all? Yes, sir.
Can you give a little bit more clarification on when you should consider having a Class B versus a Class A? Most of our facility, I work with the university also, research reactor.
Okay.
The majority of our kits are Class A kits. We have a facility emergency organization that can respond. We actually have individuals, a qualified paramedic on site who's got his own med bag and stuff, but we have general use first aid kits, and then we have these other first aid kits which are not for general use, not for minimal first aid, they're for emergency situations. And so
you have a first responders bag. To some degree.
We're not officially first responders. We can't call ourselves first responders because we're not trained as first responders.
Okay.
But we're an emergency organization to help respond to getting people out of the facility, searching and securing, things like that. But in an emergency situation, these kits that we have set aside right now that I don't really have any clear guidance on, it doesn't do you any good to have a box of bandages in there, fingertip bandages and stuff like that, because this is going to be responding more to, we have a major laceration, something like that.
And so Class B is definitely going to be the product that you're going to need. It's going to have more of the complex items in there, and they do have blood stop bandages, and then also that tourniquet is kind of cuts off the circulation as well. So the Class B, and I think I just had it in here. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Yeah, I mean, Class A, to recover that's a great question. So Class A kits are going to be intended for, again, the basic kind of range, right? So any kind of office, general facility, common type of injuries, like you mentioned, just lacerations, cuts, scrapes, what have you. Class B kits are going to be the broader range of supplies, which in here on page 1, it does cover what items are in there. And you can see that it's far more.
It just looked like it was more of the same stuff in Class A, not more special.
Yep. And there are these items here. So the Class B kits, you're going to have that tourniquet, you're going to have that roller bandage, and then you're going to have a splint. You're going to have some of the more items for harder injuries, I guess, if you will, harsher. Good question. Anyone else? And I don't know if I covered this at all too. You'll see type 1, 2, 3, 4 in the catalog whenever you're looking through it. So what the types are, type 1 kits are intended for stationary and indoor settings. So you mount them on a wall. That's it. Type 2 kits are going to be intended for portable use. So you can respond to the injured person. Type 3 kits are intended for portable and mobile indoor and outdoor settings and have a water resistant seal. And then type 5 kits are going to meet the specific performance against corrosion, moisture resistance, and impact resistance for use where potential for damage to the kit is significant. So typically these are like going to be like in a Pelican case, if you will, for on the sea or Coast Guard or something of that nature. So again, kind of the little bit of background. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of this, but Paul Zoll, the founder, attended Harvard Medical, was in the medical industry back in 1955. In 1980, he founded Zoll Medical Corporation. A couple of the highlights here: in 2002, he brought on the Zoll AED Plus, which is this green unit here. It's the #1 selling unit of AEDs on the market currently. And there's no other AED in the market like it currently, and we'll go over that. And then also in 2006, the Life Vest, which is a kind of a different segment of Zoll's business. This is what the life flight people, the paramedics use. It's the actual vest that kind of goes over, and it does everything for you. It does the CPR and everything. It's kind of the all-in-one. I do not sell that product, just so you know. Again, kind of going over just a glimpse of who Zoll is. 32% market share. They are the industry leader. If you go into Kansas City International Airport, they're there. We have a lot of corporate contracts. Medtronic's a big player, and then obviously Philips as well at 26, 27%. So really 3 companies dominate the market, and then you have a little bit of the market share kind of deteriorate there. So what is an AED? It's an automated external defibrillator. So it does not start the heart, it stops it. So whenever someone has a cardiac arrest, they have irregular heartbeats, right? So we're trying to get the heart back in rhythm, if you will. So an AED is a device that sends an electrical current through the heart when a victim is experiencing certain irregular heart rhythms. Not all AEDs are alike, and again, I will tell you why Zoll is the best in the industry. So for every minute that passes, the victim loses 10% chance of survival rate. So after 10 minutes of no CPR or anything at all, the patient is dead, if you will. So after 5 minutes, a 50-50 coin toss. So the American Heart Association recommends that you have an AED within 3 to 5 minutes, walking distance both ways. So whenever you go to an airport, you'll see them at every minute. They're once every minute from walking distance, right? So more AEDs in your facility, a higher survival rate. Just to kind of give you guys how serious of an issue and why AEDs are important. Cardiac arrest is the #1 killer in the United States. Over 360,000 people die each year in the U.S. They don't have to. If you have an AED, they do save lives. Only 15 to 20% of companies have AEDs, and almost 1,000 AEDs are sold every day. And I get this pushback a lot. People will say, "Hey, I don't want the risk of losing someone and having the insurance liability." And just so you guys know, if you are a responder and you are trying to bring someone back to life, you are covered under the Good Samaritan Act, so there cannot be a lawsuit against you. So that is a big key. So people will say, "Well, we don't really want the response. We don't want the risk of it," and you are covered under the Good Samaritan. If you're trying to save someone's life, they cannot come after you. The Zoll AED Plus. What happens during a real sudden cardiac arrest? So there are many factors that affect the outcome of sudden cardiac arrest, but there are 2 critical components: early defibrillation and effective CPR. So the Zoll AED, whenever you hook it up and you put it on a patient, and I will demo it after I get done because it's kind of loud. I'm going to finish the presentation here and I'll show you how it works and the benefit of it. There's 2 things it'll do. So you put the pads on and it will read if there's a regular heartbeat or not, and it will tell you if there's a shock advised or if you need to start CPR. High quality CPR is needed 100% of the time. In every case with an AED manufacturer, whether it's shock or needed, the victim will require high quality CPR. According to the American Heart Association, high quality CPR is compressing the chest at least 2 inches 100 times per minute. How does the infrequent rescuer know if they're doing CPR correctly or not? So that's where the Zoll comes in. The Zoll AED is the only AED on the market that tells you if you're doing compressions and CPR correctly or not. No other AED on the market will tell you if you are doing the compressions right or not. Obviously, paramedics know how to do it, but pretty much 95% of this room doesn't know how to do CPR. So there's 3 reasons why to choose the Zoll unit, and we'll demo it here in a minute. But clinically, it'll increase your odds of survival up to 50%. Logistically, will increase your maintenance obligations, which will go into the total cost of ownership and why the unit is better than the competition. And then financially is the total cost of ownership over 5 to 10 years. The Zoll AED Plus is the world's only AED that not only provides a shock, but also gives you the ability to measure if you're doing CPR correctly or not, and gives you the rescuer instant life-saving feedback. This life-saving feedback gives the rescuer a better chance at better outcomes for the victim. And this is how the CPR unit will work whenever we start it up. It'll tell you start CPR, continue CPR if you're going too slow, if you need to go deeper, or what have you. In witness arrest, where heart analysis were detectable, without CPR, without real CPR feedback, you had a 26% chance of survival, and with real CPR help, you had a 55.6%. So survival more than double with real CPR feedback. The latest guideline, 2013, recommended that all professional rescuers have some way of knowing via feedback when they are doing high quality CPR. Again, this is a recommendation. It's not mandatory that you have that, so that's why there's different AEDs on the market that don't have this. The Zoll, like I mentioned before, is the total cost of ownership is the cheapest in the industry. So once you buy this unit from the folks here at GME, Columbia Safety, you don't have to do anything unless if you use a unit for 5 years. After 5 years, you need to replace the batteries and the pads, and that's it. So the Cardiac Science, Philips, the Medtronic, I'm not going to get into the weeds of it, but you guys can see here how much it costs. So after 3 years, you have to put $495 in it. 3 years in the Philips, $267. You have to change the pads and the batteries. The other big thing about the Zoll AED is it has non-proprietary batteries. It's Duracell 123s. You get them at Walgreens, CVS, Walmart, GME, whoever you want to. So they're readily available. You don't have to go back to the manufacturer and buy these expensive batteries, which is always good. So kind of in summary here again, it's the only AED on the market with real CPR feedback. Lowest total cost of ownership. Every 5 years you need to replace the pads and batteries. I think the pads, you can get them from, the replacement pads are $150, and then the batteries are, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks. However, if you do use a unit, that's whenever you would need to replace the batteries and the pads. And then how you check to make sure if your AED is workable or not, it's very simple. It has a green check mark. So if you're walking through the facility and you see that, you're good. If you guys are in your facility and you see a red, that means the batteries need to be replaced, and you probably need to report that to your manager, the EH&S safety manager, or who have you. There's 2 different versions. We have a fully automatic, and we have a semi-automatic. The fully automatic, whenever you put the pads on, it does everything for you. If it needs a shock, it'll tell you the shock is coming and you get away. And then the semi-automatic is you will follow the instructions, and then the only thing different is you press the heart in the middle to shock whenever you're ready. It's not like you see in the movies. It's not a big jolt. If you are touching the patient, it's not going to shock you too. So it's not, Hollywood makes it a little bit more than what it is. So again, 100 compressions per minute, and then the AED would tell you to back off. It would analyze the patient and tell you if a shock was needed or not. And obviously, if the patient were to wake up, you would back away, and if they become coherent, then obviously they're good to go. The other benefit is this lid here. Whenever you put it underneath the patient, it opens up their airway valve. And it has the instructions right here on the back. And I know the American Heart Association has kind of bounced back and forth between after compressions, if you do breaths or not. I've been told no breaths.
It kind of depends if you're the lay person or the healthcare provider. For healthcare providers, we do,
Okay,
but I don't, lay people, they're not teaching to do breaths anymore.
exactly. So if you are, this is kind of again, for any university people, this is kind of your demonstration here on how you guys can save someone's life. You see these units on here, but you're like, how in the world does this thing work, right? I'll get it going here.
Unit, okay. Don't touch patient.
So this would
Analyze.
be, I'll get it going here for you.
Don't touch patient.
So again, it's analyzing the heartbeat, if there's a shock
Shock
needed or not.
advised. Don't touch patient. Press flashing shock button. Shock delivered.
So that would be a shock delivery.
Start CPR.
So I will start the CPR here. And again, there's a pressure unit on the side. So if I'm not doing CPR 2 inches deep,
Push harder.
it will tell me. There's no other AED on the market that does this currently.
Good compression.
Tells you if you are doing the compressions correctly or not. And it's a workout. So if I'm getting lazy,
Push harder.
it will tell me again.
Push harder.
Give it a go.
Good compression.
So obviously this is a dummy and this has foam in it, but I will tell you this, you will hear probably some ribs cracking. It is a lot of work. Again, 2 inches deep, 100 compressions, and then it'll tell you to stop away from the AED, and it will analyze the patient again on whether or not a shock is advised or not.
Push harder.
He's getting weak, yeah.
Harder. Good compression.
Perfect.
This person's gonna be sore.
Yeah. So you can literally continue this until medical attention arrives, and they will take the unit with them and everything, and they'll obviously return it whenever need to be.
No, we're not in yet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
No, we're not in yet.
Cardiac arrest,
Don't touch
in summary,
patient. Analyzing.
I think I made it pretty evident and clear. Of
Analysis halted. Plug in cable.
plug in these cables again. Again, the benefits of the Zoll unit, and they're everywhere, just so you guys know, is the real CPR feedback. No other AED on the industry currently does that. It tells you if you're doing compressions correctly or
Adult
not.
pads.
And also, just kind of show you, what you do is you line up your square right here, this line here between the nipples, and this other line right in the middle here. And then these have very easy adhesive bandages, if you will. And you just rip them off after you kind of set it on here. All you have to do is rip it off and just put it right there. And these are your pads. Again, every 5
Plug
years,
in cable.
you need to replace them if the AED hasn't been used. Most AEDs, every 3 years, you have to check it. So that is the Zoll AED. Perfect. Well, let's give these guys at GME and Columbia Safety a round of applause. I mean, this is a pretty incredible facility.